Hey Canelo, if the WBC asks you to either fight Golovkin next or give up the belt, what do you do?
I'm ready.
You ready? So we're gonna see Golovkin in May or what?
I'm ready.
There it is.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So, not only do you have professional boxers, trainers, and many fans that are criticizing Canelo Alvarez, but now you even have UFC fighters calling Canelo Alvarez a cherry picker. And it's simply for the hole that Canelo Alvarez continues to dig for himself. As you guys seen in the clip, Canelo Alvarez, he has been saying that he's ready for Gennady Golovkin for almost the last 2 years. He issues a statement to the public and tells the public that he's going to kick Gennady Golovkin's ass next after the Khan fight, and then he ends up fighting Liam Smith next. These are the reasons why people continue to criticize Canelo Alvarez. So before I continue with my thoughts, let me go ahead and read to you guys exactly what Conor McGregor had to say about Canelo Alvarez. This is what he said to the Los Angeles Times. Quote, "If you look at the history of the fight game, especially in this new era, it's full of stars cherry-picking their opponents. When they hold a position of power, when they get a name, all of a sudden they cherry-pick weaker opponents. They look down their division. Nobody looks up a division. Nobody looks at true challenges. Then, once in a blue moon, when that true challenge can't be denied, like the Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao situation, it happens. But when you look at this Canelo Alvarez situation, it's an era of cherry picking." End quote. So this is what McGregor had to say about Canelo Alvarez. Now, Canelo Alvarez, feeling the tension and the heat of all of this criticism that's coming from every different direction, he fired back right away at Conor McGregor, and this is what he had to say in response. "I've been fighting the best since I was 23, since a very young age. That's the last thing he could ever speak about me or say about me. But I understand there's people out there that like to talk nonsense and stupidity." End quote. Now, the first thing I want to say is, I cannot recall the last time there was a fight of this magnitude where one of the participants was not interested at all in taking the challenge. You can't compare it to the Floyd Mayweather situation. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put the link in this description box, and I may even put it on the screen so you guys can click on it if you are watching this video on your laptop. But you can't compare it to the Floyd Mayweather situation, Floyd against Pacquiao, because in that situation, I have the actual interview where Freddie Roach is actually telling us at a roundtable that it was Manny Pacquiao's fault that the fight didn't happen in 2008 because Manny Pacquiao didn't want to take the drug test. This is what Freddie Roach said out of his own mouth. Once again, I'll put the link in the description box. Okay? So you can't say this Golovkin versus Canelo situation is analogous to the Mayweather versus Pacquiao situation. Because we know that when it came to Floyd Mayweather, he agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's demands 8 years ago, or whatever it was, 7 years ago. He agreed to all of Manny Pacquiao's demands. Manny Pacquiao did not do the same thing. Manny Pacquiao, he did not agree to all of Floyd Mayweather's demands. Canelo Alvarez has never done that before. When is the last time Canelo Alvarez was negotiating with Gennady Golovkin and agreeing to all of Golovkin's terms and demands? It's never happened before, right? When is the last time Canelo Alvarez called up Golovkin on the phone directly like Floyd Mayweather did to Manny Pacquiao and said, "Look, man, let's go ahead and make this fight for the fans, Golovkin. I'm gonna go ahead and pay you $20 million and I want this amount." Golovkin, or Canelo, excuse me, has never done anything even close to that. Canelo has simply said, "I'm not fighting the guy," and that's it. Or at least he says that after he tells the public that he's fighting Golovkin next, right? Now, I want to go back to Canelo Alvarez's response to Conor McGregor when he said, "I've been facing the best competition since I was 23 years old." Now, we already know the main opponent that he's referring to when he says that is, of course, Floyd Mayweather, who was pound for pound the best fighter in the world at the time. Now, when Canelo Alvarez talks about him facing the best competition, he doesn't get that much credit for facing Floyd Mayweather. Matter of fact, I give Canelo Alvarez more credit facing Erislandy Lara than Floyd Mayweather, because for one thing, Canelo was naturally bigger. He was at a higher weight class than Floyd Mayweather. On top of that, he was in a win-win situation, because even if he lost, there were fans that were going to make excuses like they already did, saying, "Oh, well, he wasn't ready to fight him, and that just made him better," etc., etc. You have fans today damn near looking at Canelo like he is still undefeated, because they look at a loss to Floyd Mayweather as an exception because Floyd Mayweather is so damn good. Do you guys see how the double standards work? Isn't that crazy? When it comes to trying to give Canelo Alvarez credit, they're forced to actually give Floyd Mayweather credit, but they don't even realize they're giving Floyd credit. When you sit over here and you say that loss doesn't count because, hey, you lost to Floyd Mayweather, the best, right? But these are the same fans that will tell you Floyd Mayweather is a coward, he's a bitch, he's feather-fisted, and all of that kind of stuff. And if you were to listen to what they were saying before the fight, then you would think that Canelo Alvarez will win the fight easy. But then when Floyd Mayweather dominates Canelo Alvarez, now all of a sudden, no more feather-fisted, punk, bitch, and all that kind of stuff. Now it's, oh, you know what? You got to give Canelo Alvarez credit because he lost to the best, and blah, blah this and blah, blah that. You see how it works? One way or the other, they are forced to tell the truth. And some of them don't even realize they're speaking the truth or telling the truth. And that's the reason why I don't give Canelo a whole lot of credit for once again facing Floyd Mayweather. Now, if Canelo Alvarez would have moved up in weight to face Floyd Mayweather, that would be a little bit different, right? But no, you're facing a smaller Floyd Mayweather. You rehydrated 15 plus pounds. Floyd Mayweather, the day of the fight, he woke up and he was 146 pounds when he woke up the morning of the fight, okay? And Canelo Alvarez was 165 plus the night of the fight. So no, that's not taking some dangerous ass challenge that's going to affect your career, because it didn't affect his career. In fact, it enhanced his career. So yeah, not a whole lot of credit for the Floyd Mayweather fight. Now, then you have the Austin Trout fight. You can definitely give Canelo Alvarez for facing an undefeated Austin Trout. And the only reason Canelo Alvarez took the Austin Trout fight is because Mayweather said, "Dude, you haven't fought anyone. In order for us to make a big fight, you have to at least beat someone and have someone on your resume so we can promote the fight. If you haven't beat anyone, it's going to be pretty hard to promote the fight." So Floyd, he told Canelo, "You're going to have to fight someone like an Austin Trout." And Canelo Alvarez said, "Okay, well, if I fight Austin Trout, you're going to fight me for sure next, right?" And that's how that fight got made. So realistically, this is why the only fighter I really give him a lot of credit, I give him credit for the Austin Trout fight, regardless. But Austin Trout, that was the only way Canelo could get to the pot of gold, is by beating Austin Trout. So he had to put everything on the line. When it comes to Erislandy Lara, that's where I give Canelo Alvarez the most credit for facing Lara, because that was a situation where he really had everything to lose and a lot to gain if he were to win that fight. But unfortunately for Canelo Alvarez, because many people believe that Erislandy Lara won the fight, he ended up getting a decision, and it turned out to just be a controversial decision. Matter of fact, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, he said that he was in Mexico watching that fight, and he said Mexican fans were saying that Erislandy Lara had won the fight. And then you look at the controversy in the Austin Trout fight, another razor thin fight that was in Texas, and we all know Texas, they have their problems when it comes to corrupt judging. That fight was so close that even the very prideful Robert Garcia, the trainer Robert Garcia, even he said he thought the fight was a draw. And I emphasize on saying that Robert Garcia is really prideful because I've heard him say in a couple interviews that he's going for the Mexican because he's Mexican. And we got to stick together. He said things like that before. So when you hear someone like that say, I thought the Austin Trout versus Canelo fight was like a draw, you know that he has been sincere. So I truly believe that since Canelo Alvarez has had those two close calls against Austin Trout, Edeslani Lara, and when he completely got dominated by Floyd Mayweather, that made Canelo Alvarez and Oscar De La Hoya say, you know what? Never again are we going to come that close to defeat. We need to make sure we have opponents in the ring that will guarantee Canelo Alvarez a win. And ever since that Edeslani Lara fight, that is exactly what Canelo Alvarez has been doing, right? It's ironic that Canelo Alvarez is supposed to be known as this big power puncher. And yet, these decafs, by way of contrast, they'll say that Floyd Mayweather is this weak-ass, pillow-fisted fighter. First of all, how does a pillow-fisted fighter not only beat a power puncher like Canelo, but even back him up at times in the fight, have him on the ropes, etc., etc.? Not only that, but how is it possible that the pillow-fisted fighter has moved up to 5 weight classes, facing guys 15 to 20 pounds bigger than him all the time? Meanwhile, this young, strong Canelo Alvarez is now 26 years old and hasn't been comfortable moving up to middleweight in the last year or so. How is that possible? How is that possible? Once again, if the feather-fisted fighter can do it, how come the power puncher is hesitant to do it? You guys have to really think about that. And I hear some boxing fans say, hey, Canelo, he's only 26 years old. It's so funny, man, because I remember when Canelo was 23, they were saying, hey, he's only 23. And then it was 24, then it was 25. Now there's, hey, he's only 26. They're going to be like, hey, he's only 30 years old. He still has time. He doesn't have to fight anybody, etc., etc. But that's not making sense. Because when you look at all of the great fighters, all of them were facing tough competition back to back to back when they were 23, 24, 25. You look at Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has been facing tough competition since he was 21 years old. So trying to give Canelo Alvarez a pass because he's only 26 and that's why he doesn't have to face the toughest competition, it makes no sense. And this is why exposing double standards is so important, because double standards always reveals the truth. I remember there were so many writers that were saying Floyd Mayweather, he only cares about his undefeated record, he only cares about money, etc., 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 right? Even though Floyd Mayweather was always facing the opponents that fans asked him to face, now you have Canelo Alvarez, who is 26 years old. And once again, I really challenge any of you fans, if you're going to compare someone like Canelo to the best fighter of our era, Floyd Mayweather, compare the 26-year-old Canelo Alvarez to the 26-year-old Floyd Mayweather. And you tell me who Floyd Mayweather was facing at 26 compared to Canelo Alvarez. But once again, it's so funny how the fans that hate Floyd Mayweather's guts, all of a sudden when Canelo Alvarez is getting criticized, now they want to compare Canelo to who? To Floyd Mayweather? Why would you be comparing the guy that you like and praise, Canelo Alvarez, to the guy that you despise and you cannot stand. What kind of sense does that make? Now all of a sudden you said, oh, it's okay, Canelo's doing the same thing Floyd Mayweather did. Okay, well, if that's the case, how come you guys weren't praising Floyd Mayweather when he was doing the same things? Or you could say, how come you guys aren't hating Canelo Alvarez the same way you were hating Floyd Mayweather if they're both doing the same thing? That tells you right there it never had anything to do with boxing. Once again, the double standards, they reveal the truth. It never had anything to do with boxing when you look at that double standard right there. Because now you see fans in the comment section saying, hey, Canelo, he's the best. Let him make his money. He doesn't have to, he can fight whoever he wants to, etc., etc. You're saying all of these things, but yet these were the reasons why you said you didn't like Floyd Mayweather, even though Floyd Mayweather has faced 10 times better competition than Canelo Alvarez. It doesn't add up. And it will never add up because of the simple fact that these decafs, they operate with emotion and not with logic. Everything is from their heart. It's from anger. Decafs base everything off of hate and love. There is no logic involved. I assure you that. So Canelo Alvarez is in a very tough situation, guys. With the walls closing in, the pressure walls, eventually Canelo is going to have to step up in competition. He's talking about moving up to middleweight. It would be very interesting to see him matched up against the top middleweights, from Chris Eubank to Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, and of course Gennady Golovkin. I'll tell you right now, I see all of those fights, all except for Golovkin. That's the only exception. That's the only fight where I would clearly pick Golovkin to win that fight, especially after what I've seen in the Amir Khan fight. If Amir Khan can outbox Canelo Alvarez for 4 rounds, I truly believe Gennady Golovkin, he'll be able to do the same thing. Gennady Golovkin has a great jab, and I think it would be very effective against a fighter like Canelo Alvarez. But with that being said, every other fighter in the middleweight division, I look at those fights as 50-50 fights for Canelo, because we don't know how he is going to react to fighters that rehydrate to the same weight that he rehydrates to, or even close. It'll be very interesting. I would love to see Canelo versus Chris Eubank. That would be a great fight. I truly believe that Chris Eubank has the same type of power that Canelo Alvarez has. So it'll be really interesting. All of those fights will be interesting. The Danny Jacobs fight, I would actually, I said before, a lot of those fights are 50-50, but now when I think about it, I would favor Danny Jacobs to beat Canelo Alvarez. I believe maybe the Chris Eubank fight and the Billy Joe Saunders fights, those are more 50-50 fights. And quite frankly, once again, you take away the massive size advantage that Canelo is used to having over smaller fighters like Amir Khan and Miguel Cotto. It's a different ball game when Canelo moves up to the middleweight division. Once again, that size advantage will be reduced. And Canelo understands this. This is the reason why Canelo is trying to stay at 154 and milk that division as long as he can. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll definitely see what happens. But that's all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.